Assalamu alaikum, everybody. Welcome back. We just had namaz break and we had a beautiful opening ceremony, and right now we are on a dinner break. And I am joined by the two amazing people, amazing players of Orlando Union. On my right, Salman Kermali, who is the bop of taking interviews of everyone. And on my left is Kumail Jessa, who is the play-by-play commentary, who I know every major sport network is after. So, gentlemen, we saw some games. I don't know if I should call that there were some upsets, but some of the teams that were favorites to win have ended up losing. Even though it's quite early, it's round robin, everybody's going to play with everybody, but there were some exciting games that we saw already, and it looks like it's all building up to be a very exciting tournament because there are some teams who have come that many people were probably not thinking about, and they are really playing amazing. So let's go over a few teams, and you guys know more about these teams and players, and you can let our viewers know. So let's start with Vancouver, Van City. It's a very new team. Not many people know about it. They have amazingly brought two teams from Vancouver. They haven't won any championship, and I'm talking about this era of 12 years, okay, from say 2010 onwards. They have not won any championship. You had the opportunity to interview one of their players. Tell us about Vancouver, Van City.
So, assalamu alaikum, everybody. Van City, I think, is in the most prime position of all teams because they've been in this rebuild mode for a while now. They've tried to recreate their team from the bottom up and from scratch, and that's very difficult to do, especially in the interview with Mehdi Kaku, we talked about it in the West Coast. For them, they only get to really come to one tournament a year. This is their major tournament, and they have to now pretty much use this tournament to not only build for the future, but also do something now to pretty much showcase their talent, tell the world that they've arrived, show their own players that they can do things. They just took a tough defeat. I saw them afterwards, and they're down a little bit, but it's early. They just lost to the Orlando B team, and the Orlando B team played amazing. And I think for Van City, that was their barometer, right? They needed to see where they would be, and I think for Van City now, it's all about the turnaround. Can they turn around and make a difference in the next few games? And I think that will go a long way for them because, their confidence needs to come back up. But I think Van City is a team to watch, a dark horse always, and I think they could definitely sneak into the quarterfinals this year.
And one of the challenging thing for them is that it's not like the East Coast where New York can go to Allentown and play. Toronto has got so many teams. We have got our own many teams. Vancouver is on its own over there. For them to go play against any other team, you're talking about a few hours journey. RK's Golden Eagles, a team that used to be very good at one time. Then all of a sudden we had not heard about them, and then we see Sajjad Kimji, son of Marhum Raza Kimji, who started this team, has brought some youngsters and trying to sort of revive that and build RKs. What can you tell us about RKs?
Assalamu alaikum, everyone. I think Sajjad Kimji's done an amazing thing here in bringing this team full of youth. It's a big deal to bring a team knowing that you may not win maybe any games, but it's a testament to his dad's nature to keep this sport alive and grow it for the future generations as well. And I mean, hopefully they can pull some upsets, but hopefully they can rebuild their squad that was aging a little bit and come back to the sport.
And coming from Toronto, where there are established teams like Stars and Jaffrey's, for a youngster who want to get into this game, this would be a perfect team to start with, correct? So, I mean, like you said, credit to Sajjad. I remember I played with Sajjad during the last New York Championship team, and he is still playing. So, speaking of the last New York Championship team, New York Islanders, it's a officially post-Salman Kermali era has started. They have now, they obviously are going to miss not only you as a player, but as a leader on and off the court. we just mentioned they haven't won any championship in the last 12 years. As a matter of fact, they haven't won any championship in 25 years. So they are also sort of in a rebuilding mode. Would you agree?
Yeah, I would think that they're probably the most poised to make a quick rebuild because for them, it's almost like we've gone to many finals, and I think with me not being there, expectations aren't the same, and it's good for them because they can now grow on their own. They can pretty much hone their skills in a different way and use all of their ability. And I think it showcased today, right, against Stanmore. They upset Stanmore, and I say upset because Stanmore's defending champions. So for them to come in here and lose the first game to Allentown, New York Union, and then come right back and beat Stanmore, and mind you, with a new back center in Jaxie who's playing out of this world, with KP playing in the back line, with Sahil now moving to the front right, and Yasser playing in the front left, Bode taking over grounds captainship, obviously, and Shane being able to free up and play. Man, after that Stanmore game, New York's got a chance and a real good chance of not only making the quarters. I think they can upset somebody and make it to the semis. And after that, yeah, you never know. But home is where the heart is, and I'm always rooting for them. So New York, baby, bring it home, man.
And like you said, I mean, after they beat Stanmore, people cannot take them lightly anymore. I mean, I know they lost against Allentown United, but they beat Stanmore. Like you said, they are the defending champions. And Stanmore, the consensus last few days has been Stanmore Orlando finals. Everybody you hear, and for them to beat Stanmore, that's a big upset, and that should really boost their morale. Allentown United, they always are there, hanging around in every tournament. They always pull an upset here and there, You always have Banji, Sumar, and the supporting cast around it. But here comes a superstar making his comeback, and he just told me in a previous interview, after 10 years, he's playing in a tournament, and I looked at him, and I don't think he has missed a beat. And they have already created some upsets. If you, like you said, Stanmore is a defending champion, so it's sort of an upset. And speaking about Sammy used to play, and correct me if I'm wrong, Sammy used to play in an era where the game was different than what it is today. At the old days, you have the back center who controls the game. Everybody else just returns the ball. I remember this mantra, just return the ball, right? And then now the games have changed. You play front right, aggressive. A lot of Stanmore plays, the wings are aggressive. Sammy used to be that guy who used to play on the side, whether it's side, back side, front side, and be aggressive, play a fast game. With him back, with Sumar there, with Banji there, and the rest of the players, do you think they are contender?
Leading up to this tournament, I thought these guys are coming to have a good time, and I think we can all say otherwise now. They're not only contending. I mean, they're taking games. They just beat United Stars today. In a very tough match. Not to mention they were down by 3 points, came back in the last 2 minutes. I mean, it was a spectacle to see. It was a spectacle to see the likes of Ahmed Sumar saying, come to me. I'm double your age, but come to me. See if you can give me a point. Get a point from me. I think they're a force this tournament that we've been sleeping on. I personally have been sleeping on. I will definitely take that game much more heavier now. We can't zero out that game. We cannot sleep on this team. Not to mention, I want to give credit to their youth team as well. We did play against them, and they kept up. They kept up. You could see the steadiness in their game was there. I think our experience took over to win the game. But it's a bright future. Bright future.
And if you look at their back line, you got Banji, Semi, Sumar. I mean, who are you going to go after, right? And speaking of their youth team, it was such a pleasure to interview a couple of kids who happen to be, I saw Kade's grandson playing. That's a third generation playing in that team. I saw Semi's son playing. That's a third generation playing. Obviously, Kausar's, son, you can't miss him. He's as tall as Kausar. It's so good to see this second and third generation playing and really having fun. So I think Allentown's future, if they don't win now, their future is pretty bright with all these kids. I have always had the feeling coming into this tournament, if there is one team that people may think, yeah, they're good but not championship caliber, who can probably run the table, were Minnesota Jaffrays. I thought Minnesota Jaffrays are that team. And I spoke to one of their players a few days ago, and I asked him, I'm like, so you guys have a good team? He's like, this is the best team I've had. You know, this is the best team Minnesota I've had. And I asked Imran Walji during my previous interview, how does this team compare to the championship team that won 2011? Because he's the only player who has played in both teams. And he spoke about how excited, I mean, you can tell how excited he was with the youths and the way they are playing. KJ, Minnesota, what do you think?
You know, I lived in Minnesota for 10 years, so thank you for asking me that question. No, it's great to see them, especially the average age on that team is like, I feel like it's dropped significantly this year. There's a bunch of youth. I think it's the most diverse team. There's non-Kojas on this team. You know, the most amount of Koja Smiley background type players on this team that are playing phenomenally. I mean, there's one of the kids that when I left Minnesota, I used to call him hit and run because he used to hit people and just run. He's playing front left for a Minnesota A team, and he's playing amazing. You know, it's great to see. I mean, they pulled an upset on Stanmore Jaffrey's. They've also beat the defending champions. I think the way this team is led, they've changed their pace a little bit. I hope the best for them. I hope the best.
And I saw Imran Walji playing, and I don't think Imran Walji has changed in the last 10, 11 years. He's still that caliber player. Sal, what do you think about Minnesota?
Yeah, same as you, man. Like, I think dark horse for sure. I think, I had my money on them to pull an upset. I think they're going to be in the top 4 somewhere. I think for them, just like how Allentown is in a rebuild, just like how Van City is in another step of a rebuild, New York Union is in another step of a rebuild. I think Minnesota is now at the final point of their rebuild, where now they're going to start contending. And I think contending in a way where almost like New York Union was for a couple of years, right, for this past decade, where sporadically they'll make the finals, but they'll still be in there in semis to turn the tables a little. So I think Minnesota, to me, lock top 4. I don't know who's going to be out, but I know they're going to be in.
And Minnesota, like we said, unlike previous teams that we discussed, Minnesota actually has won a championship back in 2011. It was in their home court. And they have actually even brought the B team with some young blood in there, so their future seems to be bright.
Actually, I want to make a point about, sorry. Another thing about Minnesota, I don't know if you guys noticed, but in that game against Stanmore, they played a V, which they've never done. Which is like, that means they're not just playing the game at a high level. They're thinking the game at a high level. That's when you know you're ready to go and win a championship.
And you're right. I was watching that game, and their strategy, the way they were playing, it's not like, okay, the Neti just takes it out. No, he sets it up like we are used to seeing in Orlando and some other teams. And I was noticing, and then, like I said, Imran Walji was like on fire with his game. United Stars. United Stars are here. They've brought 2 teams. United Stars are one of with New York Union and what used to be Allentown Challengers, the founding team of this volleyball in North America. In my opinion, and correct me if I'm wrong, in my opinion, when you look at true, legitimate, longevity, best back center in the game, you have to start with Turab, right? All the other back centers, they may be as good. They haven't had that many years, Turab is one player who I feel like he's the best back center for some time now. He has won few championships, although all of them at home. Correct me if I'm wrong, right? They won a couple of Faisal Banji and they won Al Wahda. They have some young players. They have a player who I feel is never going to age ever in Asghar. I mean, I remember Asghar used to be a good player when, 30 years ago. And he's still, in my opinion, the best defensive player. Right? But we also saw them lose, even though it's a first round. I mean, they looking back in summer in Stanmore, they actually dominated in round robin and then stumbled in playoffs. Maybe this is a different strategy. What do you think about United Stars?
To me, you never can count United Stars out because they have a core, and that core doesn't shake. Sometimes when you're interchanging players and stuff and rebuilding or adding new pieces, there tends to be a change in the core. For them, the core stays the same. And if the core stays the same, that means that you'll see them in the semis. After that, I can't tell you, but because there's a lot of upsets already. What I can tell you is that I think that loss is going to wake them up. I can never count Turab out. I can never count Jabir out, Irfan Kermali, Askar Uncle. I just can't count them out because not only are they competitive, not only are they great players, they're winners. And when you're a winner, losing is not an option. So when you do lose, you start to go back to the table, write your X's and O's and figure out what's going on. I think they're going to turn it around. I think they need one big win, one major win, and from there they're going to ride the heat all the way to potentially the finals.
Stanmore Jaffrey's current champions, right? You guys have had so many games against them and beaten them, but none of the games have been easy, correct? They have won 2 championships, and I'm only counting 2 because those are the championships where at least one North American side was playing in there. But the one that they won recently, I mean, a lot of top teams were there playing. Do they need to win in North America to be counted in the same level as Orlando and the other teams?
My nice side was going to say no, because they're a solid team. You cannot count them out. And majority of the people said that they're looking to them in the finals. But my volleyball loving side is saying yes, because we are the hub. North America is the hub for volleyball. Now, there are great teams in the UK, but I think in order to make your mark in this sport, I think you have to win in North America. You have to win in North America with the different rules. They had that benefit in the UK. Not taking away credit, they played a phenomenal game. They won it for Fuzzle, But yeah, I think they do have to win in North America to make their mark.
Like you said, I mean, the one that they won, they beat some of the good teams, but at the same time, that tournament was very emotional. Like you said, they had to win for Maroon Fuzzle. The crowd, I've never seen crowd in London the way I saw this time. London normally doesn't get that much crowd like we get in North America. You know a lot of these players in Stanmore. I know they've stumbled a little bit, but I'm pretty sure nobody should count them out.
Yeah, for sure. No, you can't count them out. What I do think, though, is that I've seen a change in almost Mutz's game. I mean, Mutz Blue has probably been hitting the best balls I've seen him hit in a tournament in a long time. So if anything, there's only up from here, right? I don't think they're going to hit more rock bottom than they already have with the 2 losses. I think they're not that. They're a championship caliber team. So they're going to come back from this. Again, I think also for them 1 win and they can just run the table. But if Mutz Blue is playing at this level and everyone else is able to open up and start playing their game, and, obviously they're here first day, jet lag, anything. It could be anything, right? I mean, playing here with the new rules. Once they get accustomed to it, the court, the way of hitting, all that stuff, I think eventually it's going to click for them. And when it does, everyone's got to watch out.
So the only other team apart from us that have won the championship away from their home is Toronto North. And when you talk about Toronto North, all I can say is 2 words: Usman Lambada. Tell me about this Toronto North.
Lambada is Lambada, right? He is somebody that it's not only tough to play him, but he's a quiet assassin. I mean, silent assassin. The guy is he's such a cool dude to be around, and he's just, loving the game, and he's admiring. He's watching games. I was actually sitting with him watching the Stanmore and New York game, and he was just like, I'm watching because I just want to watch people play volleyball. He enjoys it. And someone like that is a tough guy to play on the court because, that nice guy look, and all of a sudden he's hitting those shots at you, and you're like, wow, he can really play. Look, for me, North is the best team to want to play on because they never come in with any expectation. They never come in with any sort of like feeling where, oh, I need to. If we don't win this, we're gonna have to face these repercussions or whatever, right? Because they have their own community. They go back and they just go back to the drawing board. And you know what? Next tournament it is. Next tournament it is. And they have such a good core. You can see it in their demeanor. They're just so chill. And that good loving feeling is just that is going to take them far, I think. And to be honest, we haven't seen them play any big games yet. I think that'll be their true first test. But I'm here for the show, man. I bought a ticket. I'm here to watch Lambada.
Toronto North, it's that one team that you can't hate them. They are, like you said, they are so chill, they are so cool. You see Usman Lambada, I mean, he'll never even talk loudly or point fingers or taunt or trash talk or something. And yet, when the lights are on, this guy goes nuts. And the two of you have taken the brunt of it. You in semifinals and you in the finals, when lots of the people didn't know who he was. And then all of a sudden, here he is. KJ, Orlando Union. You think championship or bust? We have won, just to give you, not to add pressure, we have won in the 2012 championship at home. We have won the 2014 championship at home. We have won the 2016 championship at home. And this is our next home tournament. And we haven't won since 6 years, by the way. Do you feel that pressure is there? Do you feel because we're a home team, we have to win? And on top of that, having Salman now added to the team, how do you handle that?
There's always going to be pressure at home tournaments. Always going to be pressure at home tournaments. And we have to put on a show for our own, we have our own families watching and friends watching and everything. So, and that stat in itself that we've never lost a home tournament in the past 10 years, that's a heavy stat to put on. We have a lot of new faces on our team this time around. In Salman, in Ali Tajani, in Freddie at a home tournament. So the pressure's there, but I think our chemistry over the past few weeks, months that we've been playing together, I think our chemistry is great. And like someone emphasizes the core is still strong, and everyone else has supported that core. The new faces are just great for the vibe of the team. We enjoy playing with them. We enjoy playing alongside them. I think the pressure is high, but I think we can handle it. We'll take care of business when it comes to it.
Well, after all, we have the best front line in the business. Salman, you were a superstar in New York. Now you come to Orlando and it's a team of superstars, right? It's a team that it's a team with a championship pedigree. Does that add more pressure on you now than you had in New York?
It's funny because the one man I spoke to, 2019 Faisal Banji tournament, I was sitting with Usman Lambada. And Usman Lambada brought Palace Panthers to that tournament. He did not play with North. And he played back left every single game. And they lost in the quarterfinals. So I go to him and I ask him and I say, Usman, why didn't you come into the center? He said, because I didn't need to. The team was playing well. You just have to play your role. Wherever you're put, just play your role. And if your role is back left, return the ball, play defense for your center, play defense for your team, do that. Because that's going to take you far. And that's what I'm here for, man. Look, I'm surrounded by some of the best players in the world. Forget Orlando, forget the United States, the world. I'm going to enjoy the ride, man. I may never get this opportunity again. If you go in there with positive mentality, a positive attitude, a love for the game, and I get to play with my best friends. KJ, Hilal, guys I grew up with. We grew up through the ranks together, going up against each other. Now I'm on the same court, same side as them. There's nothing better than that. So for me, I'm going to live it up as much as I have an opportunity to. And whatever my role is, man, I'm going to give it 100. At the end of the day, that's going to take us, inshallah, to a dub.
Well, let's hope Orlando wins. Let's hope you win your first championship. I'm going to end with one question to both of you. We know the contenders, the Orlando, the Stenmore, the North, United Stars. We recently had FIFA World Cup and Morocco surprised us, all right? Who is the Morocco of this team? Whether they win or they reach semifinal unexpectedly, who do you think is the Morocco of this tournament?
I was gonna say Minnesota because I think, but you know what? That's almost expected of them now. I'm gonna go with Allentown United. I think they're gonna make the semis.
Yeah, I would agree with Allentown for sure. But like you said, Minnesota is expected. Allentown surprised us, right? KJ?
Yeah, I was gonna say Allentown, but I'm gonna say Minnesota. I think Allentown's the OG squad. You know, the original gangsters in this sport. We've been watching them play for the past 20 years. I think there's a point, and I hope I don't eat my words, but I think there's a point that they will get gassed. Minnesota, their average age is half of what Allentown's is. And these guys are coming with fire and passion. Like they've already lost their voices. Honestly, that whole team has lost their voices. Except Imran Walji, because he doesn't really yell. But I would say Minnesota Jaffrey's, my opinion.
One last question for you, KJ. We have 5 teams, Orlando. Any of our other teams you think can and will pull an upset?
You see, I didn't say Orlando B to your last question because it would be too biased. You know, I'm from Minnesota, so that's biased enough. But Orlando is like, I think Orlando B is gonna pull some upsets that no one is gonna see coming. Our B team beats us on a regular. I think they're gonna be pulling some upsets in this tournament. I definitely think they're gonna, if not top 4, they'll end up top 5 or top 6, 150%.
You talk about original gangsters. Man, Sammy, man. Sammy, man, thank you. You know, first game, Sammy's playing versus New York, and these kids come to me and they go, you know, we never watched Sammy play. Mirali, Monty from Minnesota. They're like, we've never seen Sammy play. And he's like, and they're like, you know, you put so much pressure on him because you big him up so much. And I said, just watch. And dude, man, he lived up to it. And thank you, Sammy. I went to go thank him, but thank you, Sammy. You still got it, brother. Second thing, we talked about United Stars, Stanmore. They need to win that one game. Then they can go on a run. Guess who's playing right now? United Stars, Stanmore. Whoever wins that, I think, changes their tournament.
Gentlemen, thank you very much. I want to wish you, both of you, good luck. And please bring it home. Thank you.